regular co-hosting on come October. So this is a new live video platform. We try and bring live streaming and legal tech together. I am, as many know, the Vice President of Client Relations and Development for Experts.com, although this show is separate from Experts.com. That is my activity in the legal tech field, and I never practiced law. I went to law school, didn't practice, and I am a recovering government employee and vice president of a legal tech company. With me today is Shawn Kennedy, CEO and founder of eDepoze.com, which is eDepoze.com. Shawn is a litigator with 12 years of experience handling complex business disputes at two of the AmLaw 100 law firms, most recently with Morgan, Lewis, and Bockius. Having litigated cases from complaint to trial on behalf of his clients in a broad range of industries, he has a depth of understanding of the litigation process and why attorneys do what they do at various stages. You left the practice in 2013, Shawn, when you founded eDepoze, and you now are putting your experience to work providing litigators with software to make their practice easier and more efficient. And that is what we're here to talk to you about today, is what is eDepoze and what are you guys doing to make litigation easier and more efficient? That is generally what happens on this show and what we discuss. Great.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So tell us a little bit about, you left AmLaw 100 firm of let's see, what was the Morgan, Lewis, and Bockius. I was going to say Morgan Bockius, and founded eDepoze. So what is it that eDepoze does?
Yeah, my background as a litigator, I spent a lot of time in various litigation events where attorneys still, by and large, use a ton of paper. And during my career, I kind of came in the beginning of the eDiscovery revolution of, so when we started reviewing documents, it was gathering people in a conference room with stacks and stacks of boxes, and you're looking at paper. But during my career, that phase of litigation really changed from paper to electronic, especially in the bigger firm sphere. But there were a lot of other events, especially when I was focusing on it at the beginning, on depositions, and I realized why that was true. That it was mainly to do with how documents are used there, and there really wasn't a solution out in the market that would allow attorneys to use documents as exhibits during those events in their electronic form. So we were, it was a pretty inefficient process of, we've got a whole bunch of documents all electronically, and then we've reviewed them, we've tagged them, we've coded them, and shared them all in this collaborative environment. But then when we want to use them, now we have to print them out and make 10 copies of them, and put them in binders and put them in boxes and ship them all across the country. And that's really the problem that I set out to address. And so we built the software that is now the Lexcity platform that is aimed specifically at those litigation events. So this is not the behind the scenes software where you're reviewing documents and figuring out your case strategy. This is, I want to use documents as exhibits at various litigation events. So, and usually those are where you're collaborating with other people and you're using them in you want to use them as exhibits. So we came out, when the software first came out, it was strictly a deposition product, and it allowed attorneys to mark documents as exhibits and distribute them and use them all electronically at a deposition. And everybody could collaborate and participate in the process with their own account and using the documents like they would sort of in an eDiscovery database.
Okay.
And we've since expanded the scope of the platform to include pretty much everywhere else you would use documents as case exhibits. So prepping witnesses, trial, arbitration, hearings, mediations, that kind of thing. So all of it is really focused on workflow, and it's really focused on the process that attorneys use in those events to be able to bring up documents, mark them as exhibits, distribute them, present them electronically, collaborate on them together with a witness or with the judge or with opposing counsel. Everybody has their own specific defined roles. And that's really what the Lexcity platform is all about.
Okay. And with this platform, are you hearing me okay?
Yep.
Okay, good. Are they able to use this through a cloud? Is it a cloud-based system, or is it software installed? How does it work that way? Can I use it on my tablet when I'm collaborating with, say, my expert witness or talking to my client? How does that work?
Yes. Yeah. It's a cloud-based product, and there are two pieces to it. There's the back-end database repository that is accessed through the web, through web portal. We call it Web Manager. That's where people manage their cases, set up individual user accounts. They can go and really that's kind of the prep and staging area before and between these type of events. Usually they're bringing documents out of some sort of database and loading them into our system to prep and get ready for whatever phase they're at. And then between events, they're using the back-end database that's where all the exhibits are stored once they're marked, and all their potential exhibits are housed there as well.
Excellent.
During the event itself, they're accessing the software through either a web-based app or a native iPad app.
Okay.
That they can, so the web-based app is any web-enabled device, and the iPad is built specifically to take advantage of the iPad as, I think, the closest you've got to a paper type of experience.
Right. Okay. And should they want to export or print these documents, is it PDF based? Once it's uploaded to the system, I want to go and then print something because I actually do need a hard copy. How does that? Is it come out in PDF? Does everything, or does it all have to be uploaded in PDF? Or can I do some of this using Word? How does that work?
Yeah, so when documents we support all image files.
Okay.
You're importing them as an image file. Our software converts them to PDFs if they're not already PDFs, and that's so you can use the annotation features, and you can mark up documents and take notes and circle and highlight and do all the things that you normally would with PDF annotation. And again, giving you more of the paper type of experience. We also support video and audio files if people want to use those as exhibits, but not outside of that realm. And so once documents are used and marked as exhibits, then they're PDFs and they're exported as PDFs. So you can bring documents directly in from Relativity if you're a Relativity user. Okay. A direct link to import from Relativity when we leverage their binders functionality. And after that, usually documents are either housed in our system for the course of the case when they're working on that phase. But there's the system automatically creates a case level exhibit log as well that you can access and export with a CVS or an Excel file, a complete list of all your exhibits, and it's all hyperlinked to the actual exhibits themselves.
Excellent. So what are the main items litigation that you guys participate in. On your website, you've kind of got four, or on the Lexcity portion of the site, you've got witness prep, deposition, courtroom, and arbitration. So do you guys basically start at the witness prep area, or when, as a litigator, when do I want to start using eDepoze?
Yeah, conceptually, it sort of picks up sort of midstream, usually in the e-discovery or the discovery phase. So you're going out of document discovery. You've usually that phase is not wrapped up completely by the time they start using Lexcity, but they've gone through enough of it to get ready to use their documents. At either they're prepping their own witness to be deposed or to be interviewed by the government, and then they're going to that event, or they've got depositions coming up and they're getting ready to use their case documents as exhibits during those depositions.
Okay.
That's a pretty common phase to jump into the software. Sometimes on a given case, they're getting into it at the arbitration phase or right before trial.
Okay.
They're using it there. We've had people jumping in when they have a big class cert hearing coming up and they want to use the document or the software to mark and distribute exhibits and present exhibits during the hearing as well.
Okay. And who is your, because are you guys still in essentially startup phase? That's generally who we try and target for the interviews here, to help you guys help legal tech startups to promote and show what you're doing to really innovate and advance in the legal tech sector. Are you guys, would you consider yourselves still in the startup phase, or have you got a pretty solid market right now?
Well, it really depends on what you mean by startup, but if you look at the, sort of from the investor standpoint, the market standpoint, we're certainly in the startup phase. But in terms of our market, we really have developed a solid market, and we have a few hundred users and about 100 firms that are active right now, and a lot more than that have used it over the course of the last year and a half or so.
Excellent.
And it's being used every day in far-flung places, and it's a pretty good split across large firms, medium-sized firms, got some sole practitioners using it. One of the benefits that the smaller firms and sole practitioners are seeing is they can use it to either attend or to take these types of events, or take a deposition all remotely. Okay. They might have a witness in Taiwan, and they want to depose them, and they can, using our software, they can interact with the witness and use documents electronically as exhibits, just like if they were in the room with them. So that's not every deposition that you want to handle remotely, but significant cost savings when they can. Significant cost savings.
That is, which is really kind of the driving force behind most legal tech these days, is how do you save money for the clients? How do you save, in my day job, it's a matter of reducing the cost of expert witnesses. How do you reduce those costs so that making litigation, making lawsuits more efficient and more economical? And that's what I've been seeing in the last year that we've been doing this show, is that is kind of the driving force in legal tech today. And they can do, if they were going to interview somebody remotely, would they see it similar to the way you and I are seeing each other right now? If they were going to depose a witness in deposition, would it be similar to this?
Yeah, I mean, it's yes and no. Yes, in that they're usually using some sort of technology like we're using now to interact by video or voice, and they're seeing each other that way. But simultaneously, they're using our software to really interact and be able to use documents just like we're handing documents across the table to each other right now.
Okay.
So that's what we add to the process. So they use any number of different, web conferencing software, or sometimes if they're just attending something, they might even be dialing in on a conference line. But but unlike right now, if you're not using our software, as soon as somebody starts talking about a document, you're usually sort of lost and not following along with the process. Right now, with our software, whether it's somebody that's one of the attorneys in the room, or one attorney's on the case, or a client or an expert witness who wants to participate and follow along with what's going on, they log onto our software. They know exactly what documents they're talking about. They have their own copy of it to work with. And if the presenting attorney goes into a presentation mode where they're being more directive and taking the witness and the other parties directly to, say page 56, they're following along live.
Excellent. And who needs to be the account holder in that situation? If I'm the attorney who is a member of eDepoze, or I have my account with eDepoze, can I invite opposing counsel to view this particular section? If I'm in Stockton, California, and you're in Southern California, do I send you a link so then you can view the information if we were doing a remote deposition that way? Or do we both have to have an eDepoze account?
So a lot of times people have parties on both sides, or if it's a multi-party case, a whole bunch of parties will have their own individual account.
Okay.
So you're the deposing attorney, let's say it's a deposition, and you set it up, you're the noticing party. You're the one that sets up the sort of the master session.
Okay.
But I can come in with my own account, join up to that master session, and be participating along with you at the event. But all those documents, once they're marked as exhibits and saved, and the things that I do to them when I'm marking them up, that's all saved to my account.
Okay.
You come into a collaborative environment that works just like they need it to work, but they all have their own private accounts, and they're all kept confidential to themselves with their own work product. That's one of the core kind of features of our system. Now, if it's somebody that does not have an account, they log in as a guest. It's free, and they can participate along. They're in the context of a deposition. They're going to get a courtesy copy like they normally get, and they can download that to their own device. They can email it. They can do anything they want with it. Okay,
that's good to know. I was wondering, how do you protect the work product in that situation, and who has to have the kind of master account also in that situation? In terms of your market or your target market, it sounded like you've got a good mixture of large firms, medium, and even solo practitioners using the Lexcity. Lexcity, thank you. Software. Who is the target market? Is there one in particular, or are you just trying to get a wide variety of lawyers to adopt?
There's really not a specific type of slice of the market. We really think this is it's an antiquated process, and it's going to go paperless. It's going to go electronic in the next few years. Right now, the users that we have in the system, it's a relatively small, percentage of the overall market.
Right.
And for us, it's really teaching people about the software and showing them you can do what you normally do and just do it electronically. You get a lot of benefits from that, and you're gonna like it. You're gonna see the cost saving. Your client's gonna see the cost savings, and so it's more of a conversion process from an antiquated, outdated, and really difficult process of handling and shuffling around lots of paper. And so that's where we're at in the. I think we're pretty early on the adoption curve, but we're getting more and more bigger companies, bigger firms, looking at doing this on a comprehensive basis and bringing it in. We have a number of companies that we're talking with that are evaluating our software to roll it out to all of their outside counsel.
Excellent.
So, you know, it's an 80% cost savings over paper, and so it's a very compelling get. You're not switching from one product to another. You're switching from a really difficult and outdated process to something that's going to save you a ton of time and money.
Right. And my experience and experience of previous guests, including Jay Giuliano, who's here with us and probably going to join and ask some questions. Jay is the founder of PatDeck, a patent. He makes patents easier and more fun. It's a interesting software that he's working on for patent lawyers. But many of us have seen in this, the adoption is very slow, and adoption by attorneys is very slow. But since 2008, since the recession, the need to adopt these technologies that make work more efficient, more economical, and more effective is sort of pushing this forward. And you see it oftentimes with the mergers of the AmLaw 100, that people are trying to consolidate and make things more expensive. So are you or less expensive? Are you experiencing, how's the adoption, I guess, by attorneys? It seems to be what I've heard over and over doing this show is that getting attorneys to adopt the technology is what most legal tech companies are having difficulty with. How are you finding that? Is the adoption still the most difficult for you?
It's certainly a challenge in the legal market, and I think that, speaking from my own experience, it's a function largely of how lawyers are built and how we approach the world. It's a conservative type of environment, and but that's also why you tend to get a great deal of brand loyalty in the legal market and legal technology market. And the big legal companies know that very well, and so they're trying to grab brand awareness, brand loyalty, all the way back to law school,
right?
Like giving away their product in that environment. That model's not for everybody.
Right.
But we certainly see the challenges, but not all legal technologies made alike. And
right.
We're fortunate to have to be jumping into an area that really is, there's a dearth of technology at all before we came along, and it's in the middle of a process of, at every other phase, there's quite a bit of technology. And, so most firms that we're dealing with they already have their documents all electronically in that, their eDiscovery database or somewhere.
Right.
So they're having to actively move out of technology to go backwards in the world. So that's why it's more about education for us. Yes. It's more about comfort level and showing attorneys that this is how it works. It's really easy. Mm-hmm. And it's going to work like you need it to work.
Good.
I'm not trying to tell the world, of attorneys, yeah, I know you do something, you've done it this way for 20 years, but I have a brand new way for you to do it, and it's better.
Right.
That's a losing proposition.
It's a difficult sell with an attorney.
Yes. At least it's going to impede your adoption.
Right.
So our message really is, do it like you do now, and it's going to work the same. It's not scary, and we do our best to really provide a lot of support on personal support and through our reseller channel, because they're very important, because they're at the event. Right. And got somebody who can walk you through all of that. So our story is really not a hey, it's only the really tech savvy people that are using our software right now. That's not true. You've got a pretty wide range of people who are, yes, certainly the ultra tech savvy are jumping into it, but it's also just when they're feeling the pain.
Right.
And they get exposed to our software and they say, well, I don't have to cart paper all around for this and ship, cartons of paper all over the country and deal with 30 parties and then multiply that out. And so we're getting brought in on big cases, and where the need is so great that it's a shorter path to get over the hump of we're just sort of uncomfortable with technology generally.
That's fantastic. I'm so happy to hear that that this is that you're having, that it's easy enough for them to be able to adopt it in short form. That is fantastic to hear. Jay has asked a couple of questions that I'd like to get to. He said, has the reseller model helped or impeded marketing versus your prior direct-to-market approach? And I think maybe he's referring to, correct me if I'm wrong, Jay, there's eDepoze and there's Lexcity. What is the reason for that, and has it helped or impeded your marketing?
I think for us, it has definitely helped.
Okay.
Because the way that when we rolled out our software first, it really was focused on the deposition market, and we have our resellers cover 80-90% of the deposition market out there, and court reporting companies provide court reporters for every single deposition.
Okay.
And they play a very important role in that process. So they're a very natural fit because they provide they're the normal channel, I should say, for providing other deposition related technology, whether it's real time streaming or those types of products, even deposition video streaming, that kind of thing. So it was a natural fit for that channel to be introducing our product to the market. So we're happy with that decision to hit that our reseller channel, and to really provide a product that they can use to push and to better their business, and to build stronger ties with their customers, and to just be the technology, to further their position as the technology provider in that phase. But I don't think, having said that, don't think that's the only path to getting product to market, because with our software, it's broader than depositions.
Okay.
And so when you don't have a court reporting company tied to, for example, trial or to arbitration, and that's the phase that they're coming at, it's also important for us to market the software more broadly, directly to law firms, directly to clients who are the ones paying bills for all of this. So right. we don't take an either or approach. We take a both and approach. But I would say our reseller channel is very important to us.
Good. And so if I'm an attorney and I'm looking to use the eDepoze or Lexcity, do I go and become a member through the eDepoze site, or do I go through Lexcity, the Lexcity end, or where do I become a member if I want to? And like I've heard what Shawn has to say. I like what he has to say. It sounds like a great product. Where do I go? And if I'm, let's say, a lawyer we mostly have medium-sized firms here in town. So where would I go to become a member or to get an account?
Yeah, so just to clarify, the company is eDepoze and the software is Lexcity. So
gotcha.
If they want to use Lexcity, they can go to our website, and that's how they heard about it. They heard about it on the web, and they go there and they can sign up for an account directly through our website, and then we facilitate that.
Okay.
A lot of times, though, they're coming through our reseller channel, and so those, the person who introduced them to it is setting up their account for them, and setting up users and all of that. It's really a user-driven product at the end of the day. So it's a matter of who's setting up their account and giving them, access to the system, and then billing them down the line. But so we get them coming in both ways.
Okay, excellent. Good to hear. And should I want to join, do you have different membership levels for different size firms? Can I go in there as just an associate in a firm and get my own account? Or if I'm, say, a firm administrator and we've got 10 or 12 attorneys, do I need to get a particular account for that size firm, or how does that work?
Yeah, we have two different types of accounts. One is meant for really a case team approach.
Okay.
So whether that's a single attorney, or it might be 5 people on a case, they set up their account directly with us or through a reseller, and they're off and running, and that case is really what their account is set up for. Okay. Then we have enterprise level accounts that are meant for, usually it's when a firm has been using it, and what is that a firm has been using it, and the user base is starting to grow, and they have multiple cases going on. They can set up a single firm level enterprise account that they have. The firm has more direct control over, setting up users and oversight over costs, things like that. We also have client level enterprise accounts that are meant for corporate in-house. The corporate in-house team have their own account where they can set up users, where they set up cases and users for all of their outside counsel to use, and they have a great deal of visibility into all the costs associated with these events, which they don't have right now. Excellent.
Okay. And is it a monthly fee for the account, or is it based off time spent using it during a case? How does that work?
Typically, it's a single monthly fee per user.
Okay.
They're just going to pay a single user fee, and they have access to the whole system. They have access to as much as they want. They're using it at depositions, at trial. They might have a couple depositions per 1 month and 10 the next month, and it's the same charge.
Excellent. Okay. Looks like Jay, if you want to join at any time to ask some questions, we'd love to have you on. Looks like he asks, what's the cost or per year? What type of pricing is a firm looking at?
We don't set the pricing. Our resellers do, but on the sort of your on the street price is typically in the neighborhood of $100 per user per month. Okay.
All right. That's pretty good for reduction in paper costs and in time saved. That's really not a bad fee at all. And have attorneys been open to that as a relatively easy cost for them?
Yeah, no, we hear all the time the opposite of you should be charging more.
Okay.
We hear anecdotally all the time about people saving tens of thousands of dollars just on a single event by using our software. Over the course of a case, saving in the 6 figures or more.
That's fantastic.
So that we had anecdotally, we had one client come back and say for one deposition, their case team saved $30,000 for their client because it was a combination of the cost of the paper and the shipping. It was also the time spent for paralegals to to go and kind of get ready this massive trove of documents that they were going to be using at these depositions. They got it done. One person got it done in a couple hours versus a team of them spending half a day doing it.
That's fantastic. I mean, $30,000, and if you think at any level of, as an actual client, not an attorney, but at any level of that, if the client really understands how a product like this can reduce the cost of litigation for them, they'd be demanding, which is one of the things I've been thinking about with the use of live streaming in marketing for legal tech. One of the things I've been thinking about is how do we get this information to the target clients who are retaining attorneys? Because if they really knew what was happening in legal tech these days, which would reduce their cost of litigation, business clients, any client really, they would probably have a greater demand for it, right? Well, if you were a more informed client, well, what services are you using that are going to save time and money so that my bill it reflects that?
Yeah, there's two pieces, I think, to that. One is the client has to understand at least at a high level, what are their current costs?
Right.
And that's something that we spend some time educating on, because the costs that we're replacing are they're often not very straightforward. They're spread across multiple vendor bills, and they come in the door, at various points. And so we found that a lot of in-house attorneys and their departments don't have a good handle. If we ask them, what are your current sort of paper-related costs for all these types of events? But when we start putting it into numbers for them, they see really quickly, this is something that we can save. It's very low-hanging fruit as well. It's not some massive overhaul that they have to undertake. It's basically just asking their outside counsel to adopt some technology that's going to make their life easier, and it's going to save the client a lot of money as well.
Yeah, fantastic. And how have you sold that to? It sounds like you're maybe encouraging in-house counsel or corporate counsel to get an understanding of how the product works so that they may be able to encourage. How are you getting that marketing message across? Yeah, are you doing that with corporate counsel or in-house counsel first, or are you just sort of trying to target anyone and everyone to inform them and educate them?
We take multiple approaches to it.
Okay.
Sometimes it comes in through the law firm.
Okay.
And the law firm uses our software to, let's say they're using it to prep witnesses, and the corporate client gets involved because it's they're higher up people in the company and they want to sort of make sure it goes well. They're using it though to handle remotely and save the cost of not only the attorneys traveling to sit in the room with the witness and go over documents, but also for the in-house counsel to travel and so they can sit in the room and do it as well. We've had that situation transform into the in-house counsel now seeing, why wouldn't I do this for all of my cases? Or a great number of them. So that sometimes it comes up to the corporate level through the law firms and exposing the client to our software that way. And sometimes, though, the conversation starts directly at the top with the corporate client and just showing them this is what the software is about. This is how you can save money with it. And there's a balance because sometimes it's not appropriate, for them to be sort of dictating what outside counsel uses for everything. But sometimes it really does. It's such a compelling cost savings for them that they really do want their outside counsel to do their best to save them money.
Yeah, Excellent. That's fantastic. So I guess I'd like to ask, and this usually goes about 40 to 45 minutes. So we're getting near the end, and unfortunately, Jay isn't going to have a chance to join. I think he's having a tech difficulty, but I encourage you guys as new and former guests to also connect, because we're just trying to bring the community together and get more visibility for legal tech altogether. But are you doing seed rounds for funding, or are you guys bootstrapping this? How is that going forward? Are you looking for investors, or are you just trying to go for adoption with the attorneys?
Yeah, we've mostly the founders mostly financed the company for the most part through the first few years. We raised some money during a couple of seed rounds over the last couple of years from outside investors as well, more angel type of investors. We've looked into raising some institutional money, but we're not settled on sort of our strategy that way.
Sure. Okay. I mean, it sounds like the bootstrap method, or the way you guys are doing it. And I'll tell you a little anecdotal from my own experience. When I was looking at marketing for our company, I actually, at different, more fun and engaging types of marketing, I actually found your guys, your or whomever is on your marketing team, the Go Animate video that you created.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is fantastic. Such a simple way to, and ended up playing with it, and then got sidetracked with a bunch of other stuff that was on my plate, and ended up doing a lot more of the live video interaction. But I mean, that was a great way for you guys to really differentiate yourself from many other legal tech companies who seem to have difficulty with marketing, for one. And it was just such a great way to easily break down exactly what you do in very short and fun way. So I wanted to give you kudos on that. Have you had any feedback from attorneys that has actually helped them to understand what you offer, and that got them to maybe sign up that individual piece? Have you heard anything like that?
Here and there, we'll get feedback on our marketing out there, but it's that we think that's an important piece of it, but it really, nothing substitutes at the end of the day for actually just getting out and contacting people and selling. And so you get the marketing and the inbound lead generation and things on the one side, but you also have to have an approach that hits the market, whether it's through your reseller channel, or if you have an inside sales team.
Right.
You cover both.
Yeah. To really have the long-term effect. Those things are great. But for me, it was like, okay, I know what they do, and certainly I wasn't looking at it to use it because we don't practice here. We are in marketing, but I thought, I know what this company does in a very simplified fashion, and it left me. Here we are, probably a couple of years later down the road, and now finally talking to you. But it left that eDepoze in my mind for a long time, and thought this is a great way for a legal tech company to describe what they do. So
we were happy. We've been happy with that approach. It's just you can't fully rely on that.
Right. Correct.
The approach. But yeah, we're pretty happy with that. You have to be careful with the animation, I think, in this coming to this market.
Right.
Too cute with it, but we try to draw the line between stodgy and still being interesting.
Yes. And Jay says lawyers have little sense of humor generally, and that it's true. You have to be somewhere in the middle, but things are changing as the tech is growing, and and some of the younger lawyers, the former guest on the show, at Geek Attorney, Michael Lee, who is a trademark attorney out of New York, and they are having, the younger attorneys are having a little bit more, being open to that, less stuffy, less stodgy, as you said, and so that's what I appreciated about it. It looks like Jay has one more here for us. Yeah, what is the average age of the general Lexcity user? Do you have that?
I think it's an older user than I would have anticipated when we first launched. I would have thought that we would get a lot more of the younger, more tech savvy, at least by reputation, type of user. But it really has not worked out that way. It's really across the board. A lot of that I chalk up to the people who are involved in these types of events. These are really critical, mission critical type of events. And so the ones who are engaged in it and using our software there are the ones who are engaged in and running those types of events. And those are generally not going to be your junior most people on your team. Right. And so if you took our average user on an average case, I'll say your average users on an average case, typically it's maybe a mid-level partner on the case, and you've got a senior associate that is working with them, and maybe you've got a paralegal or a legal assistant as well, and the three of them are set up and use our software together. And and sometimes it's the associate that's running the software during the event, but oftentimes it's whoever's just whoever's taking it, whoever's in the driver's seat is the one that's using our software, because we really try to make it as simple as possible so that it's not something that they have to have a second chair along with them and using it that way. But sometimes they just want to run it that way. Excellent.
Very cool. And Jay says, fantastic, and that shows that it is simple for all age groups, and that is important. And we've noticed slowly but gradually the attorneys are adopting technology and becoming more comfortable with it. At about this time, it's just about the end of the interview here. Just a little housekeeping for you. What I do with these is, although we don't have a massive, this is a very niche group, so we don't have a massive following. What we do is we create a YouTube video afterwards. You can maybe find a way that you guys want to reuse it. Although we don't have a large audience here, the YouTube videos are generally when people find the time to watch it at a later date, want to learn a little bit more, and I'll send you a direct message with a link to the YouTube video if you want to put it in your newsletter or however you want to use it. Should you want to use it, we encourage you to do so. At this time, Ivan and I generally will talk about or ask our visitors, our guests, what can we do to help? As you know, we do you'll see that I post the video over and over through LinkedIn and Twitter and those things. So you'll on occasion be seeing the video just being posted. What else can we do? How do we help people know about eDepoze and what you guys are up to?
Yeah, for us, a lot of it is just word of mouth. And it's, when people get to use it, they love it. And that's the number one thing that we hear is, I'm never going back. They start using it, they're going to keep using it. And Absolutely. The good thing about our software is it's sort of inherently evangelistic, because if one person wants to use it, they're bringing it into an event and exposing multiple other parties to it at the same time. And so we get a fair amount of our growth is just organically that way. But anybody who is in the legal technology space, the more sort of word of mouth and mind share that we create about our product, I think it just helps drive awareness, drive initial adoption, and sometimes it's not just the awareness piece. It's okay, I've heard about this thing. Now I've got something coming up on this case, and now I need to find out some more about it, and that's how they get into it.
Excellent. Excellent. And so maybe should I encourage them to head over and try out the free, is it a free 30-day trial?
Yep. Yeah. You can go to lexcity.com or eDepoze.com/Lexcity.
Okay.
CITY, and sign up for a free trial, and I guarantee you'll like it.
All right. And also, for just final housekeeping here, where do people reach out to you? What's the best way? They go to eDepoze.com. How, if they should have interest in this, where do they get a hold of Shawn Kennedy or one of your associates?
Yeah, best way to reach us is info@eDepoze.com. And we can field all your questions. That goes to a range of us so that we can make sure to not miss your email.
Excellent. Well, I thank you very much, Shawn, for being here today. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Sorry we had a few technical issues, not too bad. And when the video is uploaded, I'll send it over to you and Adam. And I thank you again for being willing to come on live and talk about your company.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, and hope to talk to you soon and see how things are going.
Nice talking with you.
All right. Have a good one.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.